Part 1. You will hear a telephone conversation between a customer and a support agent regarding a vertical farming kit.
Thank you for calling Green Lattice Support. My name is Toby. How can I help you today?
Hi, Toby. I recently bought one of your indoor vertical farming kits, but I am having trouble setting it up.
I can help with that. First, could I get your surname to pull up your order?
Sure, the surname is Kessler.
Is that spelled C-E-S-S-L-E-R?
Actually, it starts with a K. K-E-S-S-L-E-R.
Got it. Thank you for spelling that out for me. I appreciate it. And what area was the kit delivered to?
It was shipped over to my new house in Moorfield.
Could you spell that area name for me?
Sure, it is Moorfield.
Let me check my system. Ah, yes, I see the delivery details for Moorfield. Which specific kit model did you purchase?
I got the medium size. I think it is called the Cascade model.
The Cascade model. Right. Let me verify the purchase date on file. Was it the 21st of October?
No, I actually ordered it a few days later. It was the 27th.
Ah, yes, the 27th. Perfect. So, what seems to be the main problem with the setup?
Well, first of all, my box is missing a part. I have the seed trays and lights, but I cannot find the bracket anywhere to mount it.
Oh, I apologize for that. That should be in the top section. We'll get a replacement shipped out to you immediately.
Thank you. Also, when I turn the system on, the water pump does not sound right.
Is it making a rattling noise?
No, not a rattle. It's more like a really loud click. It's quite annoying.
I see. That happens if there's not enough water in the base. How much did you pour in?
The manual said 25, but I only put in 18 liters because it looked full.
Ah, you really need the full 25 liters or the pump struggles. What are you trying to grow?
I'm actually starting with basil. I want to make fresh pesto.
That's a great choice. Okay, fill the tank properly first. If the pump is still noisy, it might be faulty. Just in case, I'll mail you a new valve today.
Okay, I'll replace it when it arrives and see if that solves the issue.
Great. If things still aren't working, I'd like to follow up. What is the best phone number?
You can call my mobile. It's 0822-61792. Oh, wait, sorry, it's 1795 at the end.
Okay, 0822 61795. Perfect. I'll check back next week.
Thanks for your help today, Toby. Have a great afternoon.
Part 2. You will hear a guide welcoming visitors to a sensory garden.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Veldon Sensory Garden. My name's Andy, and I will be your guide this morning. Before we start, I will explain the different zones so you know what to expect. First up, just over to your left, is the pine cone area. We mainly planted trees there that have really textured bark. We specifically chose these trees because feeling the trunks is fantastic for touch. Next, we will walk through the Whisper Grove. This section is packed with very tall bamboo. When the wind catches the leaves and stems, it creates a wonderfully soothing sound. It is my absolute favorite place to relax. After that, we reach the Sunburst Beds. These are raised wooden planters packed with the brightest flowers we could find, like neon yellows. We picked these intense colors because they are extremely helpful for our visitors with poor vision. Moving on, we have the herb patch. This is the only section where you are actually allowed to pick the plants. We encourage you to snap off a bit of peppermint or oregano so you can taste different leaves. Finally, at the back of the garden, there is the Pebble Walk. It is a long path covered with smooth, rounded stones. If you take your shoes off, walking on it acts as a lovely natural massage for your feet. Now for some general details. You might wonder how we started. Initially, we tried asking the local council for some funding, but sadly, they did not have the budget this year. We were about to organize a massive community bake sale, but thankfully we did not have to do that either. A wonderful private donation completely covered the construction costs. Now about our opening hours. In the winter months, we lock up at 6 p.m., but right now, since it is the middle of summer, we keep the gates open later. The staff officially clock out at 8 p.m., but please note that the garden gates close at 7:30. Regarding rules, we actually encourage you to take off your shoes and walk on the grass, so please do. Guide dogs are welcome, although regular pet dogs need to stay home. However, the one thing that is absolutely strictly forbidden is playing loud music. If anyone has a minor accident, we do have a first aid kit. We used to keep it inside the visitor center, but it was just too far to walk in an emergency, so now it is located right by the greenhouse. Lastly, if you plan to visit us again, I highly recommend checking our website. We don't bother posting weather updates, and while we do list volunteer opportunities, the most important thing on the site is for booking a wheelchair. We only have 3 on site, so reserving one online is essential.
Part 3. You will hear 2 university students, Liam and Chloe, discussing a research project on gamification in elderly care.
Hey, Chloe. Did you manage to finish reading that paper on gamification in elderly care? You know, the one by Dr. Eris Thorne from the Silver Spark Institute.
Yeah, Liam, I just finished it. It is fascinating. We usually just think of video games for teenagers, not people in their 80s.
Exactly. Looking at Thorne's study, I expected the elderly participants to struggle, but what really shocked me was the dropout rate. It was almost 0. I thought maybe the session length might tire them out or their age would be an issue, but no, they stayed committed.
Very impressive. But implementing this in actual care homes is another story. Some argue the initial cost of VR headsets and tablets is the main barrier.
True, hardware is not cheap, or maybe getting a stable internet connection? Wi-Fi in those old buildings can be terrible.
Actually, most facilities have decent internet now, and tablet prices are dropping. For me, the real hurdle is staff training. If carers do not know how to run the games, the tech just gathers dust.
Good point. We should mention that. What did you think about the Meadowbrook trial case study?
The interactive bowling one. The researchers claimed it changed the residents' mood overnight. I felt the results were slightly exaggerated, honestly.
Really? But looking at the numbers, yeah, okay, only 20 people took part. I guess we both admit the sample size was too small to make such sweeping claims.
Exactly. Anyway, for our presentation on Tuesday, how should we start? I was thinking of showing a short video clip of my granddad playing VR.
A personal story is nice, but a video takes too much time. What if we do a brief quiz with the audience to test their assumptions about aging in tech?
I like that. A quiz gets everyone engaged right away. Let's do that instead of the video.
Perfect. And for our research, we have that interview next week. Did you confirm with the care home manager?
I tried, but she canceled due to an inspection. However, I managed to get hold of a game developer instead, someone who specializes in senior-friendly interfaces.
Even better. They'll give us great technical insights.
Right. Now we need to categorize the specific games. Let's start with Mind Trek.
The tablet maze game, right? I read it helps with hand-eye coordination.
Actually, clinical data shows its primary benefit is different. Because it forces players to remember complex routes, it significantly enhances spatial memory.
That is interesting. I thought it was just a hand-eye exercise. Okay, spatial memory. What about echo step? That's the musical mat they stand on.
Yeah, you would think it's for cardiovascular health, but the pace isn't fast enough. It's designed to prevent falls. It steadily improves balance.
That makes sense. Next is Garden Breeze VR.
The virtual reality gardening one, I suppose it's quite relaxing.
Very. Clinical notes say it drastically reduces anxiety, especially in dementia patients. They just water virtual plants.
Nice to see it reduces anxiety. Then there's Memory Lane.
The multiplayer trivia game. They play it in teams on a big screen.
Does it boost their vocabulary?
It involves words, but the main goal is getting them talking to each other. It actively encourages social interaction to fight loneliness.
Social interaction, that's great. Finally, Rhythm Writer, the one with motion controllers.
Yeah, they swing their arms to catch virtual notes. That one definitely increases hand-eye coordination. They must time movements perfectly.
Noted. I think we have a solid outline for Tuesday now.
Part 4. You will hear a lecturer talking about an environmental issue of microplastics in alpine snow.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's Environmental Science lecture. Today, we are going to look at an increasingly urgent issue, the presence of microplastics in pristine high-altitude environments, specifically focusing on their accumulation in alpine snow. To understand the severity of this problem, I want to talk about a recent research trip known as the Puro Frost Expedition. In the harsh winter of 2024, a dedicated team of scientists set out to deeply investigate snow purity. Instead of heading to well-known tourist peaks, they specifically chose a highly remote glacier for their primary research base. This area was previously thought to be completely untouched by human activity, making it the perfect control site. The logistics of the trip were actually quite tricky. The team had to be extremely careful about how they collected the snow. If they used regular plastic tools, they might accidentally contaminate the samples before reaching the lab. Therefore, to ensure scientific validity, all the researchers collected their snow samples using special equipment made entirely of titanium. It was heavy and difficult to carry up the mountain, but absolutely essential for the data's integrity. So where do these microplastics actually come from? We are talking about isolated locations thousands of meters above sea level. The primary source was a bit of a surprise to the team. Through atmospheric modeling, the scientists discovered that the major cause is simply the wind. Strong upward air currents are picking up tiny plastic particles directly from a nearby settlement. The wind acts as a transport highway, depositing invisible pollutants onto the peaks. But distant industrial sources are not the only problem. We also have to look at the people who visit these mountain ranges. Over the last decade, there has been a surge in ecotourism. Unfortunately, well-meaning tourists unintentionally leave behind millions of synthetic fibers. These tiny threads shed constantly from their winter garments. Every time someone adjusts a jacket, invisible plastics fall into the snow. It is basically an invisible form of littering. And it's not just soft fabrics causing trouble. Researchers found out that degrading outdoor gear is a huge contributor. For example, the heavy rubber and synthetic polymers used in standard outdoor footwear slowly break down as people walk over the harsh, icy terrain. These rigid particles get left behind, adding significantly to the accumulation. Now, let us move on to the impact this is having on the fragile ecosystem. You might initially think a few microscopic fragments would not matter much, but the reality is quite different. When the snow melts in the spring, these trapped microplastics flush directly into the soil. We are already seeing clear evidence that they negatively affect the local alpine vegetation. The plastic particles essentially clog up the microscopic pores in the root systems, severely blocking the natural absorption of vital nutrients. Experts warn this could lead to a slow decline in overall forest health. Furthermore, this pollution is rapidly entering the alpine food chain. Recent biological surveys in the region have been quite alarming. Researchers have actually found surprisingly high concentrations of these toxic plastic particles inside the digestive systems of a rare species of local invertebrates. Because these tiny creatures form the absolute base of the alpine diet, the toxic load will eventually pass up to birds of prey and larger mountain mammals. Given the severity of the situation, what are the next steps for analysis and future solutions? To better understand the chemical makeup of the high-altitude pollution, scientists at the university laboratory are now extensively using a brand new laser sensor. This advanced technology scans a snow sample and instantly identifies the specific types of plastic present, saving weeks of laboratory work. In terms of active prevention, local environmental authorities are finally taking action. Next year, they plan to introduce a strict restriction on certain shedding synthetic fabrics in protected park areas. It will be tough to police, but it is a necessary legislative step. Finally, the university has just launched a long-term community project. The main goal is not just cleaning up the snow, rather it aims to launch an educational campaign regarding high-altitude pollution. By educating climbers and tourists, we hope to preserve these alpine environments for future generations.